All right, Sacrifice 2010. Sorry I'm a little late on this one. I had to download the show on Monday. But to start us off, Motor City Machine Guns, Beer Money, and Team 3D for the number one contendership to the tag team titles. Uh, you know, with all that's been said lately about veterans not wanting to put young talent over, I'd like to call attention to Team 3D and thank them for not being like that. They put over Saban and Shelley here. They put over Inc. on Impact, even though I would not have blamed them if they hadn't wanted to do that one. So, kudos to Team 3D for doing the right thing for business. I just wish more veterans were like them. The match was very good, solid opener, and the right team went over. It was great to see the Machine Guns get the win. Having said that, now that they're the number one contenders again, I'm sure their title shot will just be pissed away in a random Impact match that will ultimately mean nothing and make them look like jobbers, just like their last title shot was. Global title match: Rob Terry versus Orlando Jordan. Oh boy. I did not watch this pay-per-view live, and one of the main reasons for that was so I could just fast forward over this one. But the recap I read said it was a pretty boring match, neither guy was over, and there were end this match chants in the crowd. So, it doesn't look like I missed anything. Big surprise. Kazarian versus Doug Williams for the X Division title. Very good match, arguably the match of the night, I think. I really like the story of Kazarian trying to beat Doug Williams at his own game, but I would have had Kaz go over here. I really would have. And all these rapid fire title changes lately are really starting to piss me off. A championship means nothing if it's changing hands every 5 minutes. I know Russo doesn't care about making titles look important, and he never has, but the audience at least has to believe that they are. And we can't do that if the wrestlers are playing hot potato with the belt. So, yeah, I would have had Kaz go over. Otherwise, very very strong match. Knockouts title match: Tara versus Madison Rayne, title versus career. Apparently, the writers finally remembered that Tara is leaving the company, and since she's leaving the company, it's probably not a good idea to have her bury all the remaining knockouts. Madison Rayne wins clean, which is absolutely what should have happened. So, because there's no reason why she couldn't win clean. It's Tara's last match. So now Madison has a little bit of credibility as the champion, and we bid Tara adieu. The match was actually pretty good, and it got some decent time to tell a story for once. No complaints. Kevin Nash and the thing that ate Scott Hall versus Inc. for the tag team titles. It's a really bad sign when I'm actually hoping for the band to retain the tag team belts. Whichever team beats them for those things might get some kind of a rub, I guess. But to have that rub be given to two posers like Shannon Moore and Jesse Neal when they've been a tag team for all of 5 minutes would just be idiotic and pointless. Either the Motor City Machine Guns or Beer Money need to be the ones to win those belts, and they need to do it soon. Because, as I said in the last video, they are the ones with the DVD coming out pretty soon, and it's just common sense to have them be feuding over the titles when it does, to drive up those DVD sales. Anyway, the match was a dud. Hall and Nash did absolutely nothing here. They completely phoned it in. Scott Hall was horrible, and he's totally out of shape. As I said in the blog, it was going to take better workers than Shannon Moore and Jesse Neal to carry these two has-beens, although they did make an admirable attempt. They just weren't up to the task, and I don't blame them for that. The finish was stupid and predictable. Just babyface runs down with a weapon, looks at the heels, and then turns on the babyface. How many times have we seen that? Jesus Christ. Team 3D has turned face or heel like 100 times in the last year. Enough already. Just pick a side and stay there for a while. Good lord. Desmond Wolfe versus Abyss. Oh my... Oh god, this pissed me off so much. Basically, what TNA did with this match was they took the guy who a vast majority of the fans voted for on the first two heavyweight ranking polls on the website that they put up, and they had him get fucked up the ass by the guy who came in dead last in those same two polls, even though his current gimmick has been a huge failure and all the fans are turning on him, proving that TNA really does not care what the fans think right now because they're just gonna push whoever the hell they want regardless of what we vote for. Fuck you, Hogan! Wolf was getting face pops in this match, and the crowd was totally healing Abyss. What does that tell you? Yeah, the match was actually okay until the bullshit finish where Abyss hulked up and no-sold the brass knuckles shot, and that finish pretty much killed the entire match for me. So fuck this segment. Ken Anderson versus Jeff Hardy. I can't believe this came on before Sting and Jarrett. What are they thinking? Ken Anderson is awesome. That guy is awesome. After one promo, Ken Anderson had the crowd booing Jeff Hardy and chanting, "I'm an asshole," for God's sake. Now, I know the Impact Zone fans will chant pretty much anything, but still, I can't say enough about Ken Anderson. That guy is just pure gold on the mic. But it seems unwise to turn him face right now, since nearly all the heels in the company have been buried by Hogan and his cronies. Hopefully that was just a tease, because I think he's really needed as a heel right now. The match was good, solid if unspectacular. And then we had Sting versus Jeff Jarrett, which is really just a big squash. When they added the ninth match to the card, the number one contenders match at the last minute, it was a pretty good indicator that at least one of the existing matches was going to be pretty short. So this was not surprising. It didn't bother me. I didn't care about this match anyway, so huge ass beatdown and then a 10-second squash. Jeff Jarrett gets destroyed. I had no problem with this. AJ Styles versus Rob Van Dam for the world title in the main event. I'm going to say this right now. Too much of the focus was on Ric Flair. At ringside and the commentary booth, he just became really distracting. Now, I did like the Jay Lethal thing, but what they should have done was have all that happen earlier in the match, because the focus shifted onto those two guys at the worst possible time. And Taz even pointed this out. He was like, "Hey, we got a world title match going on in the ring, if this had happened earlier in the match rather than at the end, when AJ and Van Dam were just feeling each other out and not really doing that much yet, it wouldn't have been such a problem. As it is, it ended up distracting from the match at a time when all the attention should have been on AJ and Van Dam. Now, was it a good match regardless? Yes, of course it was, but we all knew it was going to be a good match. And why? Because we'd seen it twice for free in the last few weeks. Now think about how much more effective this would have been if they hadn't done that and they had saved this match for the pay-per-view. The fans would have been salivating to see this thing. Instead, they were like, great action, but nothing we haven't seen before. So, TNA kind of shot themselves in the foot on that one, and anyone who thinks they didn't is wrong. So, final verdict on Sacrifice. Generally, I liked it. The less said about the tag and global title matches, the better, and Wolf Abyss was booked completely bass-ackwards, and the wrong guy went over. Everything else, though, was at least good or better. So, I guess I can't complain too much about it, though I might be singing a different tune if I had actually paid money for this. I actually think Sacrifice was a fairly decent show. It's just a shame that the build-up was so horrid, and the follow-up will probably be just as bad. So, that's another month down. Stay tuned for Impact, where we start this vicious cycle all over again. See you later.